Paranormal Punches is part of the Podbelly Network. Go to podbelly.com for more great podcasts.
Hey y'all, this is Frank the Bigfoot, and you're listening to the Paranormal Punchers.
Hey friends, welcome to another episode of Paranormal Punchers. I'm Mark.
I'm Alicia.
I'm Nash.
I'm Dave.
What's up, everybody? Three of us in the same room, one of us on StreamYard. Nash couldn't make it in person, but how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well. I had to fix some issues here at the house. The house is falling apart, so it needed me to put on the old tool belt and get back to work.
I was going to say, usually I'm the one who's causing problems with logistics.
No, it was me
still
this
are,
time.
Dave. You still are. All right. On this episode, man, 119, one episode away from 120. That's a lot of episodes.
It is.
Whoa.
Whoa, you guys heard that? Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
Wow, you remember we had that one 5-star review on Apple saying, hey, I love you guys, but stop the burping.
Yeah.
Well, you can't please all the people all the time.
Oh boy.
Or, yeah, okay. You're right.
Your mute button is somewhere close. Just
to refresh.
Yeah.
A little refresher on how to podcast.
Yeah.
On this episode 119, we're going to talk about the Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary in the great state of Tennessee.
Yep.
Someplace we were in Nashville briefly. When we meant to, when we went down to Aaron's wedding.
Yep.
Aaron, if you're listening, I hope you are. What's up? This is something that popped up on my radar where we were watching this show on Discovery Plus. It reminded me of, I can't remember the name, but I'll get it by the end of the episode.
Okay.
The show kind of reminded me of a little bit of a mix of Ghost Adventures with MTV's Fear.
Yeah.
And they were episode 1, they were going to the Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary. I'm like, wow, I would like to talk about this. This seems like super fascinating, a lot of history. So this is my pick, everybody. And hopefully you enjoy it. We got listener feedback. We got a lot of fun stuff to get to. But hey, I know some of you want us to go right into it. So hey, that's what we're going to do. And as always, we let the lovely Alicia lead the charge into the haunted.
All right.
Not physically. I mean, you're not going to shove her out every time.
Yeah. No, we on real when we're on site in real life. We flip a coin to see who goes first. We don't just let Lish run right in. Yeah.
All right. So Brushy Mountain State Pen in Petros, Tennessee is Tennessee's first maximum security prison, holding the state's most violent murderers, robbers, and rapists. Some of the sentences were 200 years or more. So most of the men who were here, they never made it out. And although the death penalty was never carried out here, many met their end by natural or unnatural causes. And when I say unnatural, I mean like, they murdered each other.
Why are we laughing?
Thanks for the clarification. Now,
So the homepage of tourbrushy.com, which is their website, they say, welcome to the end of the line. Now, Brushy Mountain opened in 1896 after the Coal Creek War, where coal miners protested the use of unpaid convicts. I know.
So they used unpaid comics.
wow.
You're doing it for the
It was tough times back then, man. Getting a job as a comic.
The coal miners were out there and they're like, wah, 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 and not getting any laughs because they were unpaid. They didn't come up with good jokes.
What is it with these coal mines? Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Boy, are my arms tired.
I just flew from the coal mines.
Okay. Unpaid convicts in their operations. These convicts were from another prison, and after the Civil War, the state was in a lot of debt, so they used this free labor to help save some money. Now, Mark, I know you had a little bit about the Coal Creek War, or at least beginnings of this.
Yeah, some stuff getting to the why this prison was even constructed. So again, you mentioned the Coal Creek War.
Yeah.
But again, yes, after the Civil War, Tennessee and a lot of states found that they were broke. So they were renting out prisoners to these companies, and they were using them as basically slave labor to work the coal mines. So they were making some money renting out prisoners, and they didn't have to have facilities or pay for facilities for these prisoners. They thought it was a pretty good idea. But obviously the real coal miners, the people that weren't prisoners,
Right.
that knew how to work the coal mines, were like, this is BS. So it led to a war. Well, it first started where the real coal miners, the free coal miners, they would go. At one point, they went and rounded up some of the guards, some of the rented prisoners, and they got them out of town and said, "Don't come back." So that started off like this war, this little skirmish. Because then the state had to send down militia, and they actually went at it with the coal miners, the free coal miners, against the militia, fighting this war. Now the soldiers did win, the militia won, but the coal miners actually won over the public.
Yeah.
It was like a Rambo situation. Disappear into the caves and fight back using guerrilla tactics. But eventually the soldiers are going to win, but the hearts of the people are with you.
So in 1892, this was the fall. This war was going on, and the militia won. But again, the national publicity.
What?
You're having trouble talking too.
Of course I do. I mean, it's not the first time I stumbled across the word. The national publicity cast shame.
What is that? Is that a big guy pointing the finger going, shame?
I was just flashing back to
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones, her
Yeah.
walking through the streets naked and
Yeah.
people throwing poop on her. And,
Yeah.
It wasn't quite like that.
No.
On this whole system,
That would be awesome if it was, though.
on this whole, renting out prisoners. So eventually, this whole war. So the free coal miners, they did win in the end because it abolished this convict leasing.
Right.
Yeah. The labor system, for the convicts. But
Well, then Tennessee is like, hey, Dave. Now what? We still want to make money. What do? Well, why don't we buy our own coal mine? Build our prison right next to it. Boom, we're making money. So that's what they did. And the original prison was just a 4-story wooden construct
yep.
that the inmates also built.
It was
They
prison
built the
labor.
railroad to get all the supplies in and build this structure. And that was the original prison of Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary.
What?
State Penitentiary was this 4-story wooden structure.
Yeah.
Now, again, I'm getting to the main building that was eventually, or still
Right.
stands. So, all right, so they had that, and in 1932, the former inmate Rex Cosby, he got out. He wrote a bunch of articles about the atrocities of this place, and again, that garnered publicity enough for to send down some state representatives to check this place out, and they were like, "Oh, this is awful. It's also a fire hazard. This is terrible. This can't go on." That forced the state to build a real facility out of sandstone and concrete.
Right.
Now they
We're going to
did.
make sure that no information gets out of this place.
Right.
Now they did. The design for this place was in the shape of a cross, because like giving a small bit of hope that redemption can be found here.
Yeah.
Now, there's one way in to the penitentiary. So if you kind of like, if you were driving in and could like shoot up a drone, you would be like, oh, it looks like we're driving into an upside down cross. I don't know if that was anything they intended to subliminal message. I don't know.
Yeah.
Doubtful. So now we have this prison. They built 18-foot high walls around it. But this thing was in like this horseshoe valley.
Yeah.
So it was surrounded on all three sides by these steep mountains. I want to quote the Frozen Head State Park Ranger, Joe Nowatarski. The mountains are more of a prison than the prison is. There is only one way in and one way out. And that is through the mouth of the valley. Of course, many people have tried to escape by going over that mountain. That did not fare well for most of them.
No.
So the building was made for about 450, 600 to hold 600 or so inmates. At times, it held 1,200. So that's a little bit of how we got to the current building,
Right.
and how it's built into this mountain.
Yeah.
So that's where we are right now. Alicia will take over.
All right. So you just brought this up, but the prison is unique in that it is encircled by rugged wooden terrain in a remote section of the state. So like it's kind of, like you said, one way in and one way out. Now escape attempts were very seldom and almost always unsuccessful. One of the more well-known attempts occurred in 1977 when James Earl Ray, he's not famous, but he's, infamous. Infamous for the assassination of, I just lost his name.
Martin Luther King Jr.
Yes, thank you. Oh my God, I lost his name. But anyway, he escaped.
Way to go. Do you just want me to cut that part out?
I don't know. Anyway, he escaped with 6 others by climbing over a fence. Now, he was found 2 days later up in the mountains, hiding under...
Yeah, didn't he get over the 18-foot wall? But they managed to cobble together a ladder out of stuff they got.
Yeah, I think I saw
from,
that.
Yeah, some steel and some materials. So they made a ladder to climb out
Right.
over this 18-foot wall.
He was found under a bunch of leaves. He was about 8.5 miles away. He really wasn't that far. And the reason they found him was because a guard stepped on him.
Nice.
Right.
I mean, ow. Did the leaf... What was that? It's just a squirrel.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I always think like if you've seen Robin Hood Men in Prince of Thieves, sorry.
I bet you're going to go with Robin Hood Men in Tights.
That's right.
How you going to tie this one in,
right,
Dave?
No, Prince of Thieves. the men of anyways, they would
The Men of Sherwood?
yeah, they would take the attack and then they would run and they would flip that thing and lay
yeah,
under
yeah,
the leaves.
yeah.
And I'm like, well, what happens if they get stepped on? And
Right.
this is kind of the answer of it.
Right.
You get found and
Right. Now, Dave, did you look up some other like notable or infamous inmates that were there?
So, not so much an inmate, but kind of. A little aside story to start. Imagine like you're Bambi. Mm-hmm. You're just happily going through the woods, doing your little thing. Maybe Thumper's there, having a good time. You're playing, and oops, you slip and fall down a cliff and roll down this hill and everything. And when you look up, you're in the middle of a prison yard surrounded by inmates staring at you. What would you do? So
What would you do?
Yeah, that's exactly what happened in the early 1970s. A young deer fell off a cliff into the prison yard. And the inmates decided to keep this deer as a pet.
Which is not the way you would assume it.
Correct.
No.
Like,
Yes.
as soon as that deer hit the ground,
Yeah,
I was
like-
like, they're going to butcher and eat it.
I'm picturing like Lord of the Rings, fresh meat.
Yeah.
Right.
But no, they kept this as a pet. They named him Geronimo based on the way he came into the yard. this is what surprised me the most about this story is they would feed him unlit cigarettes, and he loved to chew on these. So Bambi,
they made him an addict.
They immediately turned him into like a cigarette junkie. But if you're familiar with prison life at all, even not by being in there, cigarettes.
Do tell us, Dave.
Cigarettes are currency. you don't just give away your currency, but that's what they did for this deer.
Interesting.
So,
now, when was this? When did this happen?
Early 70s.
Oh, yeah. I was just thinking that because prison cigarettes back in the day in the 1800s were more just like rolled nicotine leaves.
Right.
You know, so the deer eat nicotine leaves all the time. But in the 70s, he was jonesing. He's like, hey, man.
You know, my pap had a horse.
Huh?
Okay.
That also loved cigarettes.
Weird.
Yeah, my grandma would feed it cigarettes, and then sometimes would try to chew your hair too. So, yeah, I don't know if that's weird horse.
The inmates loved Geronimo, and he hung out with them until 1972. The prison actually got shut down. There was a worker strike due to working conditions, if you could believe that, based on things we've already said. And it got shut down for a few years, and the inmates were all transferred to the Nashville State Penitentiary. And the
It'd be better if it was like, I'm sorry, my head went to like, you're all transferred to the Nashville Waffle House where they. Sorry, I don't know why.
So, but the state actually did the prisoners a solid and transferred Geronimo there with them. So, yeah, the prisoners got to keep their pet.
Aw.
Huh? I wonder how. I'd like to have a pet deer. Sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now,
Till they start pooping all over the place and leaving ticks everywhere.
Oh no, I'm keeping them outside,
true
bro.
story. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mark, you had another one that was
Another infamous.
Yes, infamous
person stayed at the penitentiary. Yeah, this guy, his name was Dennis Reed, but he was labeled by the newspapers, by the media, the fast food killer. Now, this guy went on a killing spree. First, it started at Captain D's, which I guess was like a place in Tennessee, a store. But he ended up murdering two of the workers there. Took some money, which he used to buy a car. Like the next 2 days later, he bought a car with the money from the robbery. Make sure there's nothing, no deets there. Make sure I didn't miss anything. The next day, then or later, then it was a McDonald's.
Oh,
and obviously you can see how we started to get the media to do a fast food killer title. Then he killed some people there. Then a Baskin Robbins he robbed and killed a few people, but he did get caught. Because one of the people that he stabbed a bunch of times, 17 times at McDonald's. The guy's name was Ramirez Gonzalez. So the killer's Reed's gun jammed, so he started. He got a knife and started stabbing the guy. The guy at one point just played dead, and he stopped stabbing him. But when cops and EMTs got there, they were able to get him to the hospital, fix him up, and then he was able to testify against this dude.
Nice.
He ended up getting like 7 life sentences back to back.
Yeah.
Was this where was it? Where did it happen at? The stabbing?
Tennessee.
it's in Tennessee.
Well, I know that, but what fast food chain?
Well, I just said McDonald's.
Oh, that's what I was asking.
Yeah, it
McDonald's.
was first one was at Captain D's. I don't know if that's a convenience store. Then at McDonald's. Then at Baskin Robbins. Yep. And then they caught him.
I wonder if McDonald's gave him like a lifetime of food or something. You know,
Why would they do that?
Yeah.
you get stabbed at a McDonald's.
Oh, the guy that got stabbed. I don't know.
I hope not, because that's a life sentence too, to eat McDonald's
Right,
every
that's
day
also
for the rest of your life. No, that's not a
fast
good
food killer.
It's not a good idea either. Yeah, interesting.
Yep.
But yeah, he was there.
Yep. I actually have another notable inmate.
Ooh.
I don't know if anybody else found anything on this, but this was an interesting story. The guy's name was Byron Low Tax.
No tax.
No tax.
So this guy, he decided, like a lot of people, that maybe the government wasn't working for him, and he would go into politics. And decide to or to help out his fellow citizen, enact some laws or whatever. And so he started small, and as he got elected to different things, he eventually was in a political race for, I think it was state senator.
Yeah, I think it was a senator.
Yeah. And he realized he wasn't going to win. At this point, he had already legally changed his middle name to Low Tax.
Oh God.
He really did?
Yes.
Was that his platform? Like, I'm going to lower taxes.
Pretty much.
My nickname is now, my middle name officially is now Low Tax.
Yep. But when he realized he
that's a
couldn't
commitment.
win against the beloved incumbent Senator Tommy Burks,
Tommy High Tax Burks.
Right. He drove up to Tommy's house and shot him in the head.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
And that solved the election pretty quickly. He was quickly arrested and served out the rest of his life at Brushy.
Wow.
Well, did you find on how he died?
No, I didn't see that.
So when he went to Brushy Mountain, he refused. They put him in the dishwashing as a dishwasher, and that's what his job was. And he refused to do it. He was like, I'm not washing a single dish. He thought it was above it. So what they did is they increased his sentence. Every time he said no, they said, okay, well, you get another month. You get another month of washing dishes. And so it got to a spot where he had accumulated so much dishwashing time from not wanting to wash dishes that he started to argue, become combative, try to get other people to do it. And then he was eventually, for being too disruptive about not wanting to wash dishes, that they transferred him out because he was a danger to other people and to another penitentiary. And that's where he died.
Wow.
Washing dishes.
And I'm sure some irony in prison is he probably was paying a heavy tax toll. I don't know how many cigarettes a day he probably was paying out
Right.
in taxes to not get shanked.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there was some irony there.
Yeah. Yeah, all the rest of the prisoners, why are our dishes dirty? Well, because Low Tax won't clean them.
Talk to Low Tax.
So the prison closed on June 11th, 2009. And at that time, it was considered the oldest operating prison in Tennessee. It then reopened to the public in 2018 to give tours, have private events, concerts, and then it even produces moonshine and other liquors.
Right.
Heck yeah, let's go.
They have their own distillery here and a restaurant, and they have bands playing. So,
Nice.
like, we're going to get to the paranormal, but it does seem a little odd when you think about it. All the atrocities that happened there, the paranormal stuff that we'll get to. That, they have a restaurant and a distillery.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, and hey, look, I was looking at some of the stuff they have. This is perfect for Ghost and Gastropub's episode on our Patreon.
Yeah.
And you only have to go to one location. You can go do their ghost tour and then stick around at the same spot.
And have food and booze.
Food and booze. Dave, you'll love some of the names of these, the booze here. All named after things about the prison or around the prison, locations, things like that. So here, let me...
Do they have a Geronimo drink?
They have to.
They have to. I mean, honestly, they have a Geronimo shirt. If you haven't, listeners, go check it out.
in their gift shop, you can get the...
Right, yeah. It's super adorable. I want to get one.
Geronimo. What would that be? What kind of distilled liquor would that be?
Well,
Something with lime in it.
I'm thinking lime. Maybe it has some kind of like a piney thing. I don't know.
the prison was referred to as the end of the line for a lot of prisoners. This is the end of the line. When you're taking that long road in, there's a one way in, one way out. Sometimes that one way out is death.
Is death, yeah.
So they actually
that means there's more than one way out. You said one way in, one way out, and sometimes that other way is death.
There's only physically one way out.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
One way or another, your body's coming out that
Right.
one way.
Listeners, that's when Mark looked at me and gave me the
I was like,
shut up.
I was like, this episode's the end of the line for you, pal. But they make a moonshine called End of the Line.
Nice.
They have a vodka, a Frozen Head vodka. That has something to do with the name of the mine. And now it's called the Frozen Head National Park.
Okay.
I was going to say there's something else there. But.
I don't know this one here. Struggle Bus Bloody Mary Mix. There's
Struggle Bus.
Yeah.
Struggle Bus. There is a story there.
Yeah.
Double barrel whiskey. They have a product called Brimstone. It's a cinnamon white whiskey.
Interesting.
Copperhead, I'm sure, because there's probably a lot of copperheads in that
Oh,
forest.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I can
Down
imagine.
south.
Again, one of the dangers, like, if you manage to escape from prison, you're probably going to get taken down by Mother Nature.
Right.
So that's just so interesting, and maybe actually a really good business model that to have these tours and have the distillery and have the restaurant. But fascinating. Lish, take us from spirits that you can drink to spirits that haunt this place.
Okay.
Through the pudding skin, one would say. Yeah.
So the tour guides, they will tell you many inmates were severely beaten and hanged, as well as one that was chopped up and flushed down the toilet.
Okay. Now let's stop right there.
I know. So this brings me to the paranormal.
That statement brings you to the paranormal?
Yes.
So then there's some... no, I want to ask... Dave looked as shocked as me, like...
I don't know. I found it in one thing.
I
that
found
they
the
talked about
exact same thing.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah, I did.
Sometimes you can't even flush... get toilet paper to go down.
Right.
I know.
How
I don't know.
are you getting
don't
body
know.
parts?
Well, yeah, and how small do they have to be?
Right.
And then
It has
that
to be
also
small.
made me think. I was thinking a couple things off of that. I was thinking, wait a minute, this is in the woods. This is way in the woods. There's no like city plumbing out there.
Right. So it's probably
So- It's it's got to go into like a
Cesspool.
septic tank
Yeah,
or a
cesspool.
cesspool, something like that. And it's got body parts. So that got me thinking even further. And I was thinking, okay, well, yeah, I'm just going to take over right off the bat. If you're chopping people,
I'm going to
up
get a
and
beer for this one.
yeah. And they're putting people into the sewers or into the, they're flushing them down the toilet and whatnot. I'm thinking so many people died. There's so many deaths there. I mean, for one, there was a whole cell block for body storage. And then two, wouldn't it make sense that they would start to repurpose some of those dead bodies to feed the live bodies?
Whoa.
Whoa.
Right?
No,
Right?
whoa is in like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. I was like,
I am not thumbs up in your theory.
no,
there.
it's a horrible thought. But I'm thinking,
your leap of imagination. Now you look down and you realize that the walkway is painted. And
I'm just thinking that they chopped them up so small to get them into the toilet. Well, if that's the case, I mean, oh my gosh, they could do anything out there. They're in the middle of the woods, in the middle of these mountains. God knows what they could do.
Well, I did come across stuff about some of the food they were fed was this kind of, they call it slop. It was like just a solid color of just gosh knows what slop.
Keep going.
I don't want to keep going.
did they call it Soylent?
That's exactly right. Soylent Brown.
No, I can't believe you got there. The only thing I was thinking is like, imagine when there's a clog and they call a plumber in and he pops the toilet and starts trying to figure out what's clogging it and he starts pulling out
Body
body parts.
Yeah, and he pulls out a finger and he's like, whoa, hey.
Man, I was a plumber for a half a day. Well, we went to this convenience store gas station bathroom.
Where is this going? Oh my God.
Well, no, we had
That's not the first day that you want to keep people on the job.
and we had to pop. There was a clog. Had to pop the toilet, and then I quit. Once I saw what
you were
clogs
dealing with?
things up at a convenience store bathroom, I quit.
So anyway, go ahead, Alicia.
Okay. Well, with so many deaths, murders, and suicides, and they're estimating at least 10,000 people actually passed away on this property. Wow. They found mass graves nearby. It isn't surprising that there are reports of the paranormal occurring here. Okay. So visitors have been touched, shoved, scratched, and even growled at.
So are the prisoners.
You can hear screams, and you can also hear like clank, clanging against the bars. People have also heard laughter and have been told to get out. There is a ghost who supposedly smokes a cigarette if you leave one as a gift. In the gymnasium,
It's actually Geronimo.
right,
Deer's over there smoking away. Yeah.
there's poltergeist activity and strange colored lights that have been seen. Shadow figures are seen on the steps near the doorway. Shadows have also been seen in the cafeteria. In the laundry room, people have been touched and seen apparitions. And there was a ghost named Charlie that roams the area, apparently. Foul odors have been smelled, but not always.
That doesn't necessarily mean it's haunted.
No, but it's not always in the same spot. So, like, you'll smell it there and then go somewhere else.
It might
and
follow
you'll
you
smell
around.
it again. Yes.
The ghost
That's a
dealt
really
it, smelt
good
it.
thing. That's a really good thing to remember.
Right. We're getting. Oh, one of the most famous is an inmate named Jack Jett. He was a little person, but had a reputation as someone who snitched on other inmates.
When you say little person, like
I think he was.
4 foot?
I think he was on. Yeah.
Dwarfism.
Dwarfism?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I only said little person because I took that from what somebody else had written. So
No, that's fine.
okay. One night he was stabbed multiple times in the back of the neck while on the phone with his mom, and he bled to death. Yeah. Inmates report that the phone receiver would levitate off the hook and then go back up onto it again.
Well, let's, first off, was it really his mom?
Well,
Jack Jett had a reputation around the prison.
You think it was the DA or something?
Yeah, it was mom code for he was talking to the FBI or the DA. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I can't verify that, but
He had a reputation as a snitch.
Right.
yeah. It is also said that the small phone area has a tremendous cold spot, and many feel a general sense of dread while standing there. Another haunted place is the prison chapel. While visiting the chapel, many paranormal groups have captured the words hell, beast, and pain. Former inmates have told stories of seeing objects in the chapel mysteriously float across the room, as well as feel cold spots throughout. And I do have to say about the cold spots, I don't know if I necessarily believe it, because they were saying that this whole building is kind of cold on a regular basis because it's built out of stone and stuff like that. But we're not going to go there.
No, you just did.
I
but
did,
It's
but
okay. It's
you know what I
okay. Yeah.
Floating light orbs have been seen in the hole. The orbs seen are purple and red, which can mean that whatever is in there is aggressive in nature. And the sound of footsteps and whispers have been heard in there, and there's a feeling of heaviness down there as well. And I thought did you come up with some stuff, Mark, about the hole, or no? Maybe it wasn't you.
No, the whole again, like any prison movie you've ever seen, the hole is not a place you want to go.
Right.
And some of the prisoners were put down there, and they were given 2 buckets. One had water, one was to poop and pee in. So they would try to make a mark on one bucket so they could feel and make sure they weren't about to poop and pee in their water bucket.
Right. Not to interrupt, but so when you're in the hole, there is 0 light. It's solitary confinement.
Yeah.
There is no light. There is no sense of anything. You are just in complete darkness by yourself, or this is the time when you hope you're by yourself. And that's when you get these 2 buckets, and you have no way of knowing which one am I using right now.
Yeah,
You could smell it.
You could smell it. A stick in your hand and could also work 50-50, 50% of the time.
True.
But you only get one chance. Your fresh water, the one time you get it wrong, it's no longer fresh water.
So they would try to make a mark that they could feel to make sure. Yeah, you don't want to. You can't mess up once.
Right.
Yeah. But then even let's not go down that road.
Yep. So I mean, the hole does not sound like solitary in some places is just like a prison cell where you're by yourself and you only get out 1 hour a day.
Right.
That's not. I don't want to say that's not so bad, but that's not this. This is you're by yourself in total darkness with just water and a slop bucket, and that's what you have to look forward to.
And the hole was built on top of what used to be where they stored dead bodies.
Yeah.
Think if people die, they put them here because they got to move them, corner, all that kind of stuff. It was built on top of that, so maybe there also could be some crazy negative energy.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
At that, being in the hole, you could probably feel a lot of negative energy. There was one dude who I think he was down there for 90 days. I could be wrong on the number, but he rammed his head into the wall to kill himself.
Wow.
He just couldn't take it anymore.
Right.
Can you imagine the smell? Oh my gosh! Because I mean, to be in that hole, I mean, you're literally in, like what you're saying, Dave. You're in a hole.
Yeah.
That's it. There's nothing around. That's it. You're in the hole, man. You get it, and just I can't even imagine what it would be like with not being able to see, having the buckets there, and the smell of death all around you, and then oh my gosh, I don't know about y'all, but I would have a very difficult time adjusting to being in the hole.
Well, then don't do it.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
That's right.
Don't do the crime. Can't do the time.
That's right. That's
now, there are tours, like just a general tour of the building. $16 for an adult, $10 to get a kid in. And there are... I'm sorry, that came off weird. I'm sorry.
Hey, $10, you get that kid in.
All right, I'm sorry. That came off weird. 16 for an adult, 10 for a child. Okay. I'm sorry.
Hey.
Right.
$10. Get that kid in.
Yeah, you want to get that kid into the prison?
I'll do it. Give me $10.
$10.
What's interesting is there's former guards and former prisoners that are like in the building, and they will answer questions if you have any. You can do a private.
Are they alive or dead?
Well,
A bit of both.
you can do a private guided tour for a little bit more. They do have paranormal tours, 4 hours, and they call it the standard tour. It's 4 hours for 6 people max, $480. Wow. And then they have an overnight one, which is literally only like 2 hours more, I think, for $1,500. So just 12-person max, but.
So $1,500 to stay overnight in the prison.
Yeah.
Well, they do have a distillery. I mean, I'm pretty sure the 4 of us can maximize that $1,500.
Right.
Yeah, does that include? Is there a full dining package with that, or a dining and drinking package with it?
I don't think so. I don't think it's part of it, but
Well, so one nuance I want to bring up about this, though, the prison is surrounded on 3 sides by running water and has underground water.
Yep.
Basically, there's the belief that evil spirits can't leave or can't cross.
They can't cross water.
Can't cross water like this, so that all the spirits that have ever manifested there
Are still
stuck
there.
there. Yes.
Yeah.
But. Yes. So I didn't finish the story of Geronimo.
Dun, dun, dun.
So when Geronimo left in 72, when the prison closed down, he was transferred to Nashville. He took on a whole new persona. He started acting out, and didn't react well. He was basically throwing temper tantrums. Everybody was getting frustrated with him. At one point, he decided to chew on an inmate's face, requiring stitches.
Wow.
What?
And that inmate, while he was getting his stitches put in, was able to escape briefly.
Oh, God.
But this made me wonder if Geronimo was seen as like, were the spirits able to possess Geronimo?
Oh,
and
yeah.
use his
It's the only way they
body
could get out.
to cross over the water and get out.
Oh, yeah. Possessing Geronimo.
Yep. So Geronimo was able to get out.
Oh my God, that's our new movie, Possessing Geronimo. Sounds like a very indie movie.
Right.
You know?
Well, and so Geronimo, he went to Nashville. He was doing all these things. Like the warden at Nashville hated him. The prisoners were getting scared of him. And at one point, apparently he broke his leg somehow. And the vet had to amputate it.
Yep.
And then he just disappeared. No one knows what happened to Geronimo. Was he euthanized? Did he go off to some reserve? Whatever.
Right.
He was just gone. No one knows.
Oh,
how-
somebody made
Yes.
venison steaks.
Or that spirit got him out, and that spirit.
Spirited him away.
Yes, and now that spirit is roaming the countryside,
Oh, boy.
free, thanks to
In
Geronimo.
a,
Well-
in a peg leg deer body?
Yeah.
No, well, deer can't live that long, can they?
If it's possessed by an evil spirit,
Yeah.
Okay.
probably looks like a Wendigo.
Yeah.
Oh, that's scary.
Walking around, chewing on faces. You know, they do what they do. You know.
Oh, Geronimo.
Right.
No,
yeah.
Geronimo. I didn't need that nose.
We could have a sitcom at the end of every episode. Oh, Geronimo.
Nice. Well, and there was a couple notable ghosts that I actually got just a very short description on that if you go to Brushy Mountain you might see. So let's see, and one of them was called a Waterhead.
What?
Did you guys come across Waterhead?
No.
Yeah, that was his nickname. He hangs out in the cafeteria, and he was killed, but of course he was killed. Right. But just before he was killed, he had not just before, but he had his entire arm cut off.
Oh.
Yeah. So he got into some scuffle. He had his arm cut off, and then he continued to live. But they said he's not really like a bad dude. He just kind of wants to be around people. But he kind of hangs out and in the cafeteria. Yeah.
Wait, cutting off an arm is a little heavier duty than what the normal prison shiv would do.
You know, and who knows?
That just took like 5 hours.
Yeah.
Well, I would say yes, but you got people bashing their own head against the walls in the hole. I mean, there's some crazy stuff happening.
Yeah, but that's blunt force trauma. Like, you know, to have something
Who knows?
to cut through an arm bone.
Oh, I think I came across something like, you know, those metal vents that are over like your air conditioning.
Right.
They would take those. They would get them out and make weapons out of the grating
Right.
of the vents. So I guess you could create something that could cleave a man's arm off
I don't know. That's still you need a lot of weight to
and force.
go through that bone.
Again, but
Unless you're
also
going right at the shoulder. I guess.
lot of
Oh my
time.
gosh! Listen to you guys.
Or a lot of time. You know, you might.
Right.
It might take a few
Yeah.
hacks.
Yeah,
This isn't
you
a-
never know.
This
You
is
never
a
know.
pleasant experience for anyone.
Right. No, it's so awful. It's awful.
Yeah, there was James, who you said, who likes to, if you leave a cigarette for him, he sits and enjoys his cigarette. And then there was a guy named Leroy. Not Leroy Jenkins. But Leroy, I guess they said Leroy was an exceptionally violent man. Now, usually the ghosts stay in one specific location. Leroy doesn't. So like Waterhead stays in the cafeteria. James, I think he's in his cell or something like that. I don't know where James is. But Leroy he starts off in cell block D, where I guess he passed or died or whatever happened there. But he actually follows people around throughout the entire prison. So Leroy is the one who is just out of his mind. And then there's actually a ghost there by the name of Bonnie. And they say that why is Bonnie there? This was an all-male penitentiary. But they said, well, one of the possible things is Bonnie might have been somebody who passed who's more attached to the land and not the prison. So that took me back to the coal
mines.
Yeah,
The Coal Creek War.
Yeah, and maybe she's attached to the coal mines in that area and can't escape because of the surrounding what's the limestone and whatever's in there.
Yeah.
Has kind of created this vortex and with a running water that like it's magnetic for the spirits to come.
Do you know that Bonnie is a female spirit?
Yeah, that's what I just said.
No, you didn't actually say that.
I did. I said, well, her name's Bonnie.
Well, no. But see, the thing with Bonnie,
I assumed.
So right there's the assumption. So Bonnie, if there were Scottish settlers in the area, Bonnie just means pretty. So Bonnie Prince Charlie was the handsome, fair.
Wasn't there a song too? My Bonnie lies over the ocean.
Yeah. So it could just be some male that was actually exceptionally. Good to look at, yeah. And that could be Bonnie if it was a Scottish settlement.
No, it was a female.
Okay, you didn't say that.
Well, that's why I said it was odd to have a female there because it was an all male penitentiary.
Okay,
let's rewind the tape. No, I just thought that took me to this larger idea of the penitentiary itself being more of a vortex for and being magnetic for the spirits.
Right.
They couldn't leave, but it was almost as if they were. I guess they didn't really need to be pulled there because there was such an amount of people who were getting killed and dying there that would fuel it.
Yeah.
I don't know. This made me think of the gates of hell kind of a situation. It's not.
I think they also refer to this as entering the gates of hell.
Right.
It's the end of the line.
Yep. And it does surprise me that there were no executions here. So
I know,
like this was.
Oh no, people were executed.
Yeah, but
here.
not
official
officially.
execution. No,
Right.
Some of the All right, so when they were having, they were pushing these inmates to work these mines, they would whip them to the point where it said that clothing would be embedded in their skin.
Ew.
Yeah.
And then obviously then some people executions did happen. They killed people here, just mistreating the inmates at an extremely awful level.
Right.
I can only imagine with having to work the coal mines as a prisoner. Oh my gosh, I can only imagine the atrocities that happen in this place.
And some of the coal mines had like high levels of methane or something. So you could literally go in there and start digging away and kaboom.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they said.
So there was also a lot of deaths.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they were saying about when it was a wooden prison, is that one of the major things was they would hit methane pockets or some kind of a pocket, and there was constant fires all the time.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons why they had to switch it over to a limestone and stone building.
Now, I do think there was like some inmates managed to escape. They were all caught again. They managed to get in the mine, dig down, and tunnel their way out. I don't know if it was like 38 of them. So you have these inmates that managed to tunnel out of here, run around the local town armed with dynamite. It just seems weird.
Yeah.
But some people were like letting fresh food and clothing outside, hoping that they would take that and keep on moving and not break in, try to rob them or do anything bad.
Oh.
There was one dude, I think he had pneumonia or emphysema. He was sick from something, but he still mustered energy to get his gun and held 6 of them at gunpoint till the police showed up. But they were all picked back up again. Again, this area is just, they couldn't get out.
Just a hotbed for just negativity and death and just, oh my gosh. I think the best course of action was to head to orbit and nuke it from orbit.
No, well, not now. Maybe then, but not now. The best course of action is for us to go visit it so we can do the ghost tour, drink some spirits, and eat some food. And I think the restaurant's called The Warden's.
The Warden's Table.
The
I
Warden's
believe.
Table.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, and of course they have a gift shop. Like Disney, you can't exit without going through the gift shop.
Yeah. Oh, no, if we go, I'm definitely getting a Geronimo shirt.
Okay.
After researching him, I love Geronimo.
Unless at the end became an evil deer that is still
Well,
killing.
that's what I was thinking.
Like,
I
even
was-
so,
I was act-
that'd be cool.
I was actually thinking that Dylan would be not Dylan. Geronimo. Oh my gosh. Geronimo would be the best pet for Dylan in the Blue.
Ooh.
Ah, that's right. Oh, wow, we haven't done that for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Dylan in the Blue, and then their pet deer Geronimo, who is also now possessed and is a demon. Okay.
You see? That's perfect.
Any new listeners like, what are they talking about?
What are they talking about?
Woo. That was good. That was fun. Very interesting. It really does make me want to go back down to Tennessee. This seems like a really cool place to visit. And also, Tennessee has other cool places like
course.
Nashville, and there's a lot of
course.
probably cool things to see down there.
Yep.
Why don't we take a break, and we'll come back with listener feedback.
This is Chris and James from State of Fear Podcast. When you find a new podcast that covers the areas of supernatural, the paranormal, or true crime, are you often disappointed to find that it covers the same subjects you've heard about again and again?
Yeah, when it comes to the world of podcasting, do you really think you've heard it all? Probably, but not here.
Every Friday, we go from state to state to uncover unusual or horrifying stories that often tend to fly under the radar of those other podcasts. What stories, you might ask? Well, have you ever heard of Iowa's exorcism of Emma Schmidt? Or the murder of 13-year-old Bruce Kim in Washington? How about the strange deaths at Hobbs Reservoir in northern Utah? Or South Dakota's duct tape killer?
That's not enough for you? How about the South Carolina Third Eye Man? Oklahoma's Abominable Chicken Man? What about the Devil Monkeys in New Hampshire? Or the Rougarou of Louisiana? Well, we've covered all of these and much more, and this was just the first season.
So, is your morbid curiosity piqued? Well, follow us anywhere you get your podcast to hear all about the lesser known, but just as frightening tales of murderers, demonic possessions, and silver-suited chicken eaters that you never ever knew existed.
State of Fear Podcast, where terror is homegrown.
And we're back. All right. Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary.
And it's just that I'm hot.
Okay. Wow.
Wow, I guess what he's referring to is an off recording. I was going to say off camera comment, which had no relevance to how he was kicking us back into the second half of the show.
Right.
But it's Nash. We accept it. We move on.
That's right. It's the good with the bad.
Right.
All right. Any other final thoughts on that outside of I think it should be on our travel
It
itinerary.
needs to be on our list.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
I had a couple, not fun facts. I don't know what you want to call them.
Oh, I got I got a fun fact too.
Okay. Well, so in The Firm, Tom Cruise.
movie?
Yeah. Well, I think there's a book
It's a book.
too.
Yep.
Yeah, John Grisham book. Mhm.
Yeah. So the character played by Tom Cruise, his brother is actually an inmate at Brushy Mountain. And then also, it was supposed to be the final destination for Hannibal Lecter in The Silence of the Lambs. So they're not fun facts, but, just...
All right.
Pop culture.
No, yeah,
There you
pop
go.
culture. Yeah. I
When,
love
when
it.
you said they're not fun facts, I was like, oh, are these
Oh, no,
morbid facts?
Well,
or-
it was just kind of like, should they be called fun facts? I don't
Right.
think so, but...
We used to, back in the day, we used to call these funk
Funk
facts.
right, yeah.
I don't know why I stopped doing that. Probably because I was ignoring it. I was like, funk fact. Right. So a lot of this land now has become the Frozen Head State Park and Natural Area.
Okay.
Now, no one. What?
It's just funny how you said that. That's
Did I
all.
overemphasize all that?
Yeah, the area.
So this thing is like 24,000 acres
It's
of
huge.
scenery and steep hills and woods and forests. But it's also home of the Barkley Marathons. Now, I don't know, maybe somebody listening has heard of this. Lish, we actually watched a documentary where these guys go out and they're running this marathon. It is, it's about a 100 to 130 mile unmarked course. Takes 60 hours to complete.
Wow.
Oh my god!
If you remember that one,
this.
yes, it's called the Barkley Marathons. It's crazy, but they run it through these woods. And reflecting back in the documentary, some of it could have been they might have tried to tie in the woods and the prisoner escapes to this. So since 1986, only 15 runners have actually been able to complete the course within the time limit. Within 60 hours.
Wow.
Could you imagine running around the woods for 60 hours?
2.5 days.
That's insane. That's a
Do
thing.
they do something like when you do the zombie run where people come out and they, in the zombie run, they have people come out and act like zombies and try to get you? Do they do something similar in this and like have a bunch of German shepherds and try to chase you down?
Though an actual extreme fun idea. No, you're not dressed up in orange jumpsuits and trying to escape prison.
Right.
It's just more of an extreme ultrathon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that would just add a little flavor. You get about a couple dozen German shepherds, and off they go.
That would be very detrimental to the runners' lives.
Your insurance liability to put on that event would be through the roof.
No, it's just a waiver. You just sign the waiver. They talk about the dogs that much.
We don't talk about the dogs that much.
But if they didn't use German shepherds, if they had the bloodhounds and you had that hound sound the whole way,
something like that,
Yes.
right? I mean, they could substitute the dog. You could just say, we're not going to use German shepherds or bloodhounds. We're going to use Pomeranians or.
Right.
I don't think Pomeranians would give the same effect.
It'd be funny.
You're right. It'd be funny though.
Yeah.
It would be a way to add dogs chasing after you. And that would be to keep it light and fresh.
Well, I imagine trying to run 100 miles on an unmarked course and actually win is enough.
Followed by the Coors Light of beers or of dogs, and
I was hoping to get that beer right through your nose there, Alicia.
Man,
it was really close.
It was very close, I have to tell you.
I do hope, though, that's the last time Coors Light is mentioned on the show, ever. No offense if you like Coors Light.
Yeah.
It's all good. All right.
No, it's not.
We're going to jump into listener feedback, kicking things off with a comment from Chromos. This is in response to Nash assuming what truckers are carrying across the country, which Nash, you thought it was condiments.
You never know. It could be anything.
No, you were adamant it was condiments. Don't change. Chromo says ROFL. No mayo. Mostly paper goods and FedEx. Mm-hmm. But I was surprised that you did the Pascagoula abduction. My house is right down the way on the river from where it happened. I think I told you guys that. Well, you might have.
Yeah. Sorry.
And when I'm in town, I run into Calvin Parker at the store. Really nice fella. Should have told me about this episode. Jeez, sorry. I would have seen if he would have been up for a phone interview.
That would have been cool.
For a person who didn't want to talk about it at the beginning, he sure does talk an earful about the story now. And yes, you guys need to do the Patreon show. Call it Dinner and a Brew with a Troll. Good time for all. Can't wait to see what the next episode going to be. Thanks, Chromos.
Yeah, thank you.
There you go.
Thanks.
So he's not hauling mayo, dude.
Well, it could be something else. It could be Cheese Whiz. It could be it.
He said paper goods.
Mostly paper goods and FedEx.
That's just the who he works for. That's the other truck. I'm telling you, across the country, there's large, just the highways are filled with ketchup and mustard, mayonnaise, hot sauces. I'm telling you, they're headed everywhere.
I mean, that's if you were in charge of the supply chain. It would just be condiments. But people need more than just condiments to live on.
Not much. I'm telling you, you could really go pretty far. Maybe a can of tuna. I don't know.
An entire truck of hot sauce. Like, could you imagine an El Yucateco spill?
Oof.
And,
Right?
Like, I mean, they'd have to close down the highway. Everybody would have like eye irritation and everything.
See, unless here's the unless they go tandem like with milk trucks.
Oh, God.
Well, so now you're asking two trucks to wreck.
Yeah.
So there's the
They
milk
gotta
truck
go.
following the El Yucateco truck.
Or they're
And
side
he's
by,
like, if you wreck, bro, I'm in.
Yeah.
I got you.
or they're the ones that are always side by side that you can't pass. And it's
Yeah,
it's
that
to
happens
keep
all
us
the time
safe.
on the-
Okay.
Got to figure it out.
Well, I'm sure Chromos is like, yeah.
I will never email again.
Right.
We heard from Elliot. He recommended us on Facebook. I am co-founder and lead tech for Always Chasing Ghost Paranormal, ACG Paranormal. I found this podcast while doing research on locations. I enjoy the camaraderie amongst all of you. The laughs and interesting stories give me something to enjoy during 11-hour workdays.
Wow.
Thank you, punchers.
Nice.
Well, Elliot, number one, you're welcome. Elliot, actually, we had comments on the last episode, if you guys remember.
Oh, yeah.
But, Elliot, this 11-hour workday thing, that's not good, bro.
Yeah.
You got to figure that out.
Ditch that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds terrible. I mean, unless you're
Also,
making what you want to make and you're happy about it.
Also, if we're showing up for research, go somewhere else.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, don't quote us in any of your research.
I find it all online, so.
Elliot, thank you. And, hey, Elliot said if he's ever in the area, we
Yeah.
might do a collab, so
Yeah.
that'd be awesome.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
We heard from Will. Will Allen. I had to clarify that because there's another Will that sends us UFO stuff.
Yeah.
Will sent us a message on the Montauk Project, where I am right now.
Wow.
I know I have a ways to catch up, but if it's already been discussed, sorry. So he must not have got to that episode yet, but I'm jealous that he's actually up in Montauk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So his question is the sage antenna a beginning form of the harp in Alaska?
Yes.
Okay. Is that,
That was very
that's
quick.
It? Nothing else? You want to elaborate?
It was just a yes or no. I mean,
Oh, okay. well, there you go. Will, everything's been solved.
Yes.
mystery unraveled.
Oh,
Yeah.
boy.
President Nash to the rescue.
Done. Yes. Yes, it is. All kinds of crazy stuff happens everywhere. I'm telling you, especially up in Alaska. Have you ever been to Alaska?
Okay.
Have you?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
So, real quick, did you actually understand the question?
Yeah, is the Montauk similar to? Is it like a beginning project to what's the radar hat in Alaska?
Okay.
Well, the way you repeated it back, I assume you didn't understand the question. But
Which is valid because sometimes I don't understand. But yes, I do.
But Will, hey, there you go from Nash. That's an emphatic yes.
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 Yep. And when Nash answers like that, we can't.
There's no
answer
argument.
any
We
of
can't
it.
argue.
Yeah.
I mean, we can
Irrefutable.
argue.
It's irrefutable.
We heard from Scott T. Hey guys, I had an experience at the Richmond battlefield here in Kentucky just the other day. I was showing my oldest nephew around, and we were talking, and all of a sudden, we both smelled gunpowder and started hearing musket firing.
What?
You guys rock. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
You rock, Scott. All right, so that living as close as Gettysburg as we do,
Right.
like that would be an intense experience
Yeah.
to start to smell that. And I mean, obviously, you would know if there's a reenactment going
Right.
on,
Right.
but to hear those sounds and smell like that's intense.
Yeah.
Is that your final answer?
Nah.
That would be intense. That would be quite alarming.
Yes, it would.
Yes, it would. Yes, it would.
I would like that experience.
Yeah.
Since we go to Gettysburg all the time, but
Yeah.
we only experience beers.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah, I feel like that would be one of those experiences that would be relatively harmless and more of curiosity and things like that. It's not so spooky. It's more of, wow, this is what it would have been
But
like.
I think it would make your mind turn a lot about it.
Yeah.
Like you keep thinking like that. Did that really happen?
Right. Yep.
Right.
I think I need to go back.
Yep.
Will it ever happen again? Like, did I really experience that? I think it'd make your brain start to think like, okay,
Yeah.
what happened?
Why did I get to experience that and others don't? Yeah.
Right. All right, we heard from Chad. Hey, guys. Just wondering if you all have ever talked about the Devil's Stomping Grounds here in North Carolina. It's a circle on the ground, and nothing will grow on it. It is said that the devil comes out at the witching hour to plan evil ways to take souls.
Oh, boy.
Oh.
There is even a story about some Boy Scouts who camped on that spot to only wake up in their tents 100 yards away in the morning.
Okay.
It's also a big paranormal spot. People say they've seen UFOs and even Bigfoot. Thanks for all the shows. Keep it up. Chad, thank you so much. No, that topic's now on the list.
Yeah.
This sounds interesting, and I feel like I watched a found footage movie that had a similar kind of thing with this one spot on the ridge where nothing grows. And I think a guy tried to camp there, and only to it became like a time thing for him. But interesting. Do you guys ever hear this?
I have not. How big is the spot?
He doesn't say. We'll have to look it up. That's why he gave us the topic idea. It's up to us now. It's up to us.
I just thinking of it is that like if the devil's coming up to wreak havoc and whatnot, I'm thinking like the size of like an elevator shaft, But if there's Boy Scouts camping on it, this could be like pretty huge size.
Yeah, I'm thinking like 100 yards diameter.
Yeah, that's pretty big.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so if you're walking in the woods and you find this area where nothing would grow, are you going to be like, boom, best spot to camp, everybody?
That's a good camping spot. It's nice and level, nothing growing, nothing getting in your sleeping bag,
And there's no tall grass for there to be snakes or spiders or
Yeah.
Right, and then the next morning, you wake up 100 yards away.
in the snake infested grass.
In the snake infested, yes.
So something which I'll probably forget by the time we get to the topic, but I'm on, and not a discussion for right now, but I want to know what everybody's definition of the witching hour is, because it seems like everybody
3 a.m., right?
It seems like everybody has different, so not a topic for right now. But this
Are you still waking up at 3 a.m., bro?
this is a good topic for later.
Okay.
So that is a yes. Do you see any
it's-
shadows in the corners?
When I wake up too. Well, usually the second time I wake up in the middle of the night, but yeah. 3 a.m. to 3 to 4 is usually where I'm waking up. So
Nah, I'm usually going to pee at about 2:30.
well, I pee at like 1:30 and then I pee again at like 3:30. So
Welcome to Pee Punchers.
I know.
Where we talk about what time we wake up to pee.
I just can't stop.
Now you know the real name or real reason behind the name.
Dave, you're going to have to elaborate. Not right now on
Right.
the show. Like, so you keep waking up at the witching hour.
Yes.
Was there any shadows or anything? Did you get freaked out?
Again, topic for a different time.
Okay, so that's a yes. That's a yes. All right. We heard from Amber. She was messaging you back and forth on Instagram.
Yep.
All right, so try to just capture the moment here. I'm not going to read every single thing. My new man is a skeptic, but is embracing my weird hobby. I have traveled for years seeking out haunted places. That's awesome, Amber.
Yeah.
In June, we probably should have Amber on the show.
I know.
In June, we stayed at the Haunted Driscoll in Austin, formerly where I wanted to live until they got snow. So
Kind of defeated the purpose of moving to Texas.
he was exiting the haunted elevator and said, "Whoa." I had walked ahead of him. I turned around and asked if he was okay. He had stopped exiting the elevator, and his eyes were the size of saucers. He said it felt like somebody ran their fingernail down his hand.
Oh, that's nice.
That was his first experience, his first ever experience. We've had 3 experiences since then, twice in New Orleans and on way home in Grand Junction. Either I'm a magnet, he's a magnet, or together we are a magnet. Wouldn't you like to be a magnet too? He's having fun with it though. Obviously, I threw that cheesy part in.
Yes.
Amber did not throw that cheesy thing.
I wonder if there was something and they didn't, like what it said that if you have an experience, you need to very clearly state your position. I'm not okay with this, what you're doing.
Yeah.
Don't follow us. Maybe they haven't done that. And it's the same spirit, just following them and attached to them.
You trying to freak them out right now?
Right. Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if they've done that or not, but it'd be worth a shot.
I'd be curious, like, if he was a skeptic, so he probably hasn't experienced things before, so he's probably not the magnet. She might be. It's her hobby, but I like the concept that it's more
a combination.
Two of them.
Yeah.
But I'd be curious on, like, if we got a professional, how do those? What are the characteristics that come together to create a magnet?
Oh,
how do you create that kind of a thing?
Yeah, it's like a solid peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Right.
Right. You got to have the peanut butter and the jelly. You can't just have a jelly sandwich.
Dave, actually, I'm going to throw this on you. We would not have got a food comment if it wasn't for...
I don't know if you've seen the commercial, but right now I'm thinking, like, I hate that I love this so much.
And on her travels, one more comment she threw at us. Went to Fruita, Colorado. Fruita, Fruita.
Fruita, that sounds right.
To do a small hike. Didn't know the Mike the Headless Chicken Festival was held here.
Oh, that sounds fantastic.
I heard about it on a podcast a year ago. So she shot us some details about Mike. And I love everything about this.
You've never heard of it before?
No.
I've never heard about it either.
Oh, okay, Nash, get ready. I think you'll love it as much as I do. Mike the Headless Chicken was a male Wyandotte chicken that lived for 18 months after his head had been cut off.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
After the loss of his head, Mike achieved national fame. So sometimes that's how you get famous. Wow. It's bizarre. And they got there's some pictures here that it was part of the Wikipedia she shot. Like, this thing was trucking around for 18 months
18
without a head. Did they let his head still be somewhere so he can go?
Did he have it like as a necklace around
Oh my
God,
God, that's horrific.
right?
I was thinking hold it so we could go visit it in the afternoon. He'd walk by and he would see the head.
Yep.
But on a chain like the Predator. Wow, that's really hardcore.
No, I think he came back and just looked. I couldn't look at it.
Couldn't look at it. Yep.
But I don't see, that is interesting. What happened that this thing lived for 18 months?
So this was in the Guinness Book of World Records. So
Okay. Oh,
growing
my
up in, I think, middle school, I would always read the Guinness Book of World Records looking for the weirdest things. And this was on there.
That's not weird at all.
Yeah.
No.
Well, if it's not weird.
And so with this, they're pretty sure that it was the farmer had a really bad cut with the cleaver and left the cerebral cortex intact. So the brain was still going, but everything else was gone. I don't know how it ate.
I was going to say, how did
But yeah, it had no vision. It had no, it was wandering around like this. And
But the head was still attached though.
No, his head was laying on the ground.
Yep.
Well, then the cleaver had to get it all off.
No.
Had to cut the whole thing off.
Main part of the brain was still there. It was
he
really bad,
scalped him almost.
But imagine a frontal scalp,
Right.
shave off the front of his face, and yeah.
Weird.
It, like what one of Mark's favorite lines that Nick Cage has ever said: "Take your face off. Face off."
It's one of my favorite lines.
No more drugs for that man.
That is fascinating. I mean, I have a story about chickens and an axe, but I think I won't. I think I'll hold it back.
Well, that's a foregone conclusion, that story, I think.
Yeah, I'm going to hold that. I'll keep that.
Yeah.
I'll save it for another day. When Dave tells us about his 3 a.m., I'll tell you about
Yeah.
some chickens and
an axe.
And an axe. That was kind of funny. All right. Hey, you want to send us some feedback? Send us one of your stories, your experiences, or just have a comment or two. Just go to paranormalpunchers.com. You find all the ways to contact us. Do it. We'd love to hear from you.
God.
Do it.
Do it.
All right. That's an excellent episode. I had a fun time hanging out with everybody. I hope everybody listening, you had a fun time. We made your day happy. We put a smile on your face. Until next time, everybody. Oh, wait. Is anything new happening? Anything we got to tell all our wonderful friends that we're up to? What are we up to? We got some stuff happening on Patreon.
Yeah, Patreon. That's probably the biggest one. But
Come listen to us for $1. You get a whole bunch of cool
For
stuff.
$1 a month. We got Ghosts and Gastropubs, where we do a virtual go to this haunted location, and here's a cool place to get some grub afterwards. Because
Actually, this episode was kind of like a good
I
preview for it.
know.
Like this was
that's because this place had a distillery
Yes.
and a restaurant.
Yeah.
yeah.
We have Creepy Cryptids, where we talk about a cryptid. We haven't done one for a bit, but we're going to get back at it, where we read scripts that I wrote 10 years ago, and we're going to reenact, we're going to act them out. What's that called? Oh, Dead Scripts.
Yeah.
Dead scripts.
Rise from the grave.
Yep.
You think I'd remember these things?
Yeah.
It was your idea.
Yeah. D&D.
We got the D&D
Yeah, D&D.
stuff,
Yep.
and we're trying to the weekend show where we talk about all the pop culture movies or whatever pops in our head. Just something to sit back, relax, drink a beer, and laugh with kind of show.
And yell at each other.
And yell at each other and accuse each other. You don't understand this character. Getting very nerdy.
And potentially one of the best things of all time could be coming right down the pike.
Right down the pack?
Right down the
I
pack.
don't like
Pike.
the sound of that.
Yeah.
A 4-person Paranormal Punchers puppet show.
Oh, I know.
Ah,
it.
yes.
It's coming.
It's
coming.
It's happening.
Yeah.
It's happening.
Yeah.
Now, because again, I have a little extra time on my hands, so I'm going to try to start putting that time to use to get the paranormal
haven't
puppets.
You haven't been?
Well, no, I mean,
We
been
had
a- it's been
full-time
a-
jobs, so.
yeah. We got them. The puppets are made. We just got to make the show,
Yeah.
and maybe more. Who knows? We try hard. It's not always easy to produce all that content, but our heart's in it.
Yeah.
Our heart's in it.
right.
You know why? Because you all rock.
Yep.
Thank you for supporting the show. Listen to the show. Sending feedback. Being part of our Facebook group where a lot of funny things go down. We love you all. Until the next time, everybody. Remember. Man, why am I? I'm just
I don't know.
I'm getting all cheesy. Hey, yeah. We'll just end it right now. If it's not weird.
It's not worth checking out.